Thank you and welcome to SquaredUp Live 2025. I'm Richard Benwell, founder and CEO of SquaredUp, and we're streaming live from our headquarters here in the UK. Thank you to everyone who's joining us virtually from around the world, and thank you to our customers and staff joining us in the office today. This year, we're running a slightly different format. We have prepared over 20 different sessions covering best practices, tips and tricks, use cases, and customer stories, running in parallel across 3 different stages. So there's something for everyone. And in the next 30 minutes of this keynote, I'd like to take you through that content, sort of guide you through it, and hopefully you can make the most of today's show. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about the need for operational intelligence. We are living in an era of immense change and uncertainty. And in fact, it feels like the only certainty right now is that change is coming, big changes. Led, of course, by AI that is affecting every one of us, both personally and professionally. Within our businesses, we're seeking to leverage AI to work more efficiently and achieve more with our skills, and of course, to incorporate it into our products and services. Externally, AI will reshape industries and the markets our businesses operate in. And despite the uncertainty of what AI will bring, we know for sure that it will bring change. Beyond AI, we have changes to global politics and trade. We have escalating military action, increasing cyber threats, and not forgetting, of course, climate change that's taken a back seat to the rest of this, but of course is an urgent issue that's not going to resolve itself. So whatever the next few years actually brings, we know that our businesses will change, and that will change the way we work. These waves might hit us directly, or we might feel their effect indirectly. But waves can be navigated, and depending on how we navigate them, they can disrupt us or they can carry us further and faster on our journey. So they are both threats and opportunities. And for those of us working in technology, now is the time when we need to be truly agile. As a priority, we need to support our business goals by embracing and executing on change really, really well. So adopting new technology like AI, migrating to new architectures, whether that's cloud, serverless, containers. We need to minimize overheads, not just of legacy workloads, but of the new workloads that we're experimenting with and incorporating into our business. We will need to adapt to org changes, whether that's sort of mergers and acquisitions or organizational changes within our business, due to these changing technologies. We'll need to release new features in our software and our applications and our IT, and we'll need to scale up and down depending on demand. And of course, we need to do all this whilst delivering secure, reliable, high-quality services to our customers. Now, managing this balance between change and stability has always been essential to tech delivery, but to navigate the changes coming, we really, really need to be on top of our game. And to do this, to be in the best place possible to navigate change, we need a comprehensive understanding of what's happening in our systems and processes. We can't be flying blind. We can't be seeing only partial information or getting caught out by issues that we didn't see coming. So our jobs in this era of change and the opportunity we have is to provide this comprehensive understanding to our business, not just to key decision makers, but to everyone in the business who needs visibility of our technology and processes. But here's the challenge. To really understand what's going on and to enable proactive and data-driven decision-making across our organization, we need to make better use of the data we have within our tools and across our tools. So we need to take the data we already have and translate that into insights that are understandable by those who use it and overcome those silos, that limited visibility, lack of context, and disconnected data sources. Doing this is what we at SquaredUp are calling operational intelligence. And although it's not always had this name, it's been our vision from day one. We started by providing visibility on top of System Center Operations Manager for infrastructure monitoring. We've extended that to other infrastructure platforms. But these tools aren't enough to keep pace with the change and the breadth of data needed for end-to-end IT and software operations. Despite billions being spent on observability tooling in the industry and this new breed of tools, These are focused on metrics, logs, and traces from our application code. They give us the depth, but not the breadth we need for this need. So we think operational intelligence is more than just a monitoring tool. It's more than observability. And in fact, we don't think it's specific to any one of these domains, but a tool that can provide unified insights across everything. So how can we do that? Well, we think an operational platform, operational intelligence platform, needs to be these things. It needs to be universal. So not just one data source or many data sources, but any data source, all data sources. It needs to be the definitive single pane of glass. You need to have confidence that you can always put the data you need into it. It needs to be real time. It needs to show what's happening now, and it needs to provide proactive monitoring through notifications. It needs to be versatile. So as the systems and processes change, which they will do, this platform and this visibility can change with it. It needs to be contextual, so correlate across those tools and put that data into business context, a customer context, and system context. Essentially, it needs to be easily understood, not much point otherwise. So that needs visualization, simplification, but above all, summarization. We need to summarize that information to make it easy to understand. And it needs to be self-service. It's not much point in us just building out, these views and these data sets. We need to surface that data when and where it's needed, so people can consume it whenever they need. And we need to enable ad hoc drill downs and exploration by non-specialists, people who don't necessarily understand the underlying data sets. So we really want your teams, your decision makers, and your business to have the operational intelligence they need to navigate the change that's coming. And that's what we've built with SquaredUp Cloud. What's really exciting about this sort of platform is that it grows. Almost every customer we have on SquaredUp Cloud has started with one integration, one use case, maybe one audience, and they've added more as they've been able to see what they can do with the platform. And so that's where I wanted to start with the first of my session pointers for this year's SquaredUp Live. We have sessions from experts covering many use cases across SquaredUp Cloud, from infrastructure and application monitoring to DevOps insights, cost insights, and even observing AI itself. So learning, for example, what the adoption level of Copilot is within your organization, or the cost of all that experimentation your teams are doing internally with LLMs. So I'd encourage you to join at least one session that goes beyond your current scope. And I hope that these sessions will give you the inspiration you need to provide visibility and insights to other teams within your organization. So that brings us to this year's dashboard competition, where we asked you to share examples of the different use cases that you have solved with SquaredUp. And to take us through this year's entries and announce the winner, I'd like to introduce Adam, our VP of Innovation at SquaredUp. So hopefully, Adam, you can join the call.
Thanks, Richard, and hi, everyone. I'm very pleased to have the most fun part of the SquaredUp Live keynote, which is to talk about the dashboard competition and all the cool entries that we've received. I've got a few to share, some of my favorites for different reasons. I'll walk you through them. A couple, sadly, that we've had to disqualify for a very good reason. So up first is a dashboard that I submitted. I wasn't aware, I wasn't eligible for the competition, sadly. But this is also a bit of a shameless plug for our new podcast, Operationally Intelligent, where I talk to people from the industry about all sorts of cool stuff. So this dashboard, another shameless plug, is all built using the SharePoint plugin, which there's a session on later. So all this data comes straight from Excel files and videos stored in SharePoint. So check that out. But sadly, like I said, disqualified. Boo. Up next is a really cool example of the Web API plugin. This is from Tim Wheeler at SquaredUp. This is his fantasy football dashboard, which just gives him a really nice, clear overview of where he sits in the rankings. But again, internal entries, disqualified. Sorry, Tim. So on to our first proper dashboard for the competition. This is from Thomas at DSV. DSV have been using SquaredUp for quite a few years, and this dashboard gives him and his team a complete overview of everything related to Active Directory. So this is dashboard server with SCOM. This is covering things like certificates, resource groups, server roles, and so on. Thomas said the dashboard was really easy to build, very easy to use, and very clear to understand, whether it's on a large screen or on the desktop of the responsible technician. Thomas actually takes quite a lot of pride from some of the nice little details on this dashboard. And if you check out the customer voice session at 3:50, you can hear all about how they use Dashboard Server as their single pane of glass. Up next, we have an entry from Bianca at Stampede. Stampede are a software company who provide a really cool hospitality app for engaging with customers before and after and during their visits to premises. This dashboard from Bianca shows live support team performance. All the data comes straight from Zendesk. These dashboards give them both daily visibility and monthly trends on how the team is handling customer inquiries across multiple channels. On a daily level, they track open tickets, their backlog, first response time, time to resolution, all those nice juicy metrics for a support team. And on a monthly level, they zoom out to see overall volumes, completion rates, customer satisfaction. This makes it really easy for them to identify where they're doing well and where they need to improve. It's a really nice similar use case to how we use Zendesk plugin at SquaredUp. Bianca also mentioned that these dashboards are especially useful for coaching and performance reviews. They give the team tangible data to celebrate wins and to focus on improvements. And they also serve as a nice bridge between departments and with management. The next one that I want to show, the third and final that I'm going to show in this segment, is from Ruben at Smartest Energy. This dashboard is used to monitor their CI builds run by the team in the last quarter. All the data in this case comes from Azure DevOps. It helps to gather metrics around the number of failed builds and build duration. And they use this data to ensure ongoing quality and performance. Ruben also joined me for a brief chat recently, and you can listen into that for yourself in the session at 3 p.m, the customer voice session. That's it for the dashboards I want to show here. As a just general shout out, if you've still got cool dashboards, even if you didn't enter the competition, but a really cool use case you want to share, send us a message. We'd love to see what you're doing with SquaredUp. But we'll move on to the big news, and the winner is. I've chosen this dashboard as the winner because I can see a lot of value in it, and it's again a use case that I think is really powerful. So, without further ado, the winner is Bianca from Stampede. I wish I had lots of rounds of applause here, but it's just me stood in the corner of the office. But yeah, it's a really, really great dashboard. I'm really pleased to see that after a relatively short time with SquaredUp, Bianca's been able to build something that's really, really useful for them and their team. So yeah, finally, the prize will be on its way out to you, the little Millennium Falcon. So yeah, congratulations, and back to you, Richard.
All right, thanks Adam, for taking us through that, and congratulations to Bianca at Stampede for winning the competition. As Adam said, he's spoken to 2 of those entries in more detail, and you can catch those interviews in the sessions later today, the 2 customer voice interviews coming up on stage B and stage C there. That's Ruben at Energy and Thomas at DSV. All right, thanks for that, Adam. Moving on, so let's look at some of the latest product updates coming from SquaredUp recently. And of course, we have to start with the news hot off the press of Dashboard Server 7.0 has been released. 7.0 is the 4th new release in the last 12 months. We still believe that SCOM, when combined with SquaredUp, is the best possible monitoring tool for data center environments and hybrid environments that are running server-based workloads. And we're committing to make it the best it possibly can be, and making sure it keeps up to date. 7.0 adds 2 major new enhancements. So the first is being very well received, and that is native dashboard support for VMware vCenter. So that allows you to bring your alarms, metrics, status, and so on out of VMware and straight into your dashboards alongside SolarWinds, Splunk, many other tools, and of course all of your SCOM data. So you can get that single pane of glass that includes your VMware infrastructure without the need for a dedicated SCOM management pack for VMware. DS 7.0 also adds a fresh new look, yet again modernizing SCOM up to sort of 2025 look and feel. But also really importantly, it aligns DS more closely with our cloud product. So when you're combining the 2, it's much more of a seamless integration. So you can get deep dives from the engineers behind those features in the upcoming sessions on the right there, as well as learning about how you can combine DS with cloud in hybrid environments where you want to combine the depth of data center visibility from DS and SCOM with the breadth of operational intelligence from our cloud platform. So that's DS 7.0. Hopefully you caught the release webinar for that, but if not, we've got these deep dives from the engineers behind the scenes on that. So really, really cool stuff. Switching gears, when we look at SquaredUp Cloud, our next gen SaaS platform, You won't be too surprised to learn that we use a DevOps methodology here at SquaredUp, and that means we've delivered over 770 releases out to production in the last year. So that's typically several releases a day, 3 or 4 typically. Every time you log on to SquaredUp Cloud, you'll see an improvement, an improved platform, broad integrations, better performance, and so on. There's a lot to keep on top of. You can try and keep on top of those changes using the What's New link in the bottom left of SquaredUp Cloud, or you can head to the changelog and follow that online. So loads that has been released, lots to talk about in general, but I wanted to highlight just 3 of the most recent changes in this keynote. The first is rollup. When I talked about the properties of an operational intelligence platform, I said it had to be really easy to understand and it had to summarize data. And rollup does exactly that. So rollup takes the status from your underlying dashboards with their metrics and monitors and so on, and summarizes that in simple red, amber, green dashboards. So you can give stakeholders an at-a-glance view of the status of an environment or a system or a process. Those users don't need to then keep an eye on and interpret all those dozens of dashboards at a low level, but they can at any point click on one of these status blocks and drill down to explore the detail. So we've actually had this capability baked into the internals of the cloud product from the very early releases, but we've just added rollup as a first-class data source, and that means you can make fully customizable dashboards for all of those teams. You can see more about this and see the rollup in action in Vince's session coming up shortly in the top right there. So that was rollup. I'm also really excited to announce our very latest data source that was released yesterday, and that is the Azure Managed Prometheus plugin. Prometheus is the de facto monitoring tool for Kubernetes environments. And actually, in fact, Microsoft have started to offer it as a managed service within Azure Monitor because it's so recognized as being the de facto tool for Kubernetes. So you can now get it as a managed service within Azure, and we've released a plugin to take advantage of that. So this plugin integrates directly with Azure Managed Prometheus. It provides customizable out-of-the-box dashboards for complete visibility of your Kubernetes clusters. And you'll find them easier to customize and easier to share than the native dashboards from either the Azure console or Grafana that you can also now get in the Azure console. And of course, you can combine this with other Azure and non-Azure data sources, so you can get an end-to-end visibility of that Kubernetes hosted application. To learn more about this, we've got John Hayes, author of the O360 newsletter and observability advocate here at SquaredUp. He'll be looking at the core Prometheus plugin that we've had for a little while now, but he'll be talking through that and how you can use SquaredUp to monitor a Kubernetes environment. So if you want to sort of check out a bit more of a kind of Kubernetes angle with SquaredUp, then definitely head over to John's session later. And then lastly, despite having all of these plugins, 60 pre-made integrations with things like SQL, Elastic, Postgres, Mongo, and so on, there's one data source that we all use, and it just won't die, and that's Excel. For many businesses, Excel is still the easiest place to capture and play around with ad hoc business data. We all do it, I'm sure, all have done it, and a lot of our teams within our business do it. Although this data is just tucked away in Excel files, it's often absolutely key for business context. And hence, it's actually really important to include this in your dashboards and create those contextual summarized views we talked about earlier. So our new SharePoint Files plugin, Adam did give it a plug, mainly because he was involved in the development of this plugin. But that enables you to bring data in from any Excel workbook on SharePoint or OneDrive and basically treat this like any other data source. So you can visualize it in many different ways. You combine it with SQL queries, with other data, and you can combine it with real-time data from other data sources. So that could be business-specific data sets, customer data, project status, metrics that are calculated outside your monitoring tools or SquaredUp. You can now bring into your SquaredUp dashboards. You can even embed PowerPoint content for diagrams, perhaps some visuals that you can't create within SquaredUp, and even video and other content from SharePoint and OneDrive. So there's probably some pretty weird and wonderful things you can do with the plugin, that's for sure. And I'm pretty sure Adam is going to take us through those and enjoy taking us through those in his session coming up soon, session 3 on stage A there. So really worth checking out. I think probably, I'd say, unless you're not working in a Microsoft environment where really sort of Excel's not used, I'd really recommend you checking this out and seeing what you can do. It really can broaden those dashboards, to include so much other data. So that's just 3 of the highlights I wanted to include just in this kickoff. As I say, 770 releases. There's loads been going on just in the last year. So to learn about the latest, do check out some of the other sessions we have today. They're designed to cover all of the key areas of SquaredUp Cloud, and they're being presented by our product managers, engineers, and DevRel sort of working behind these features. So please do check that out. Everything from using the web API, integration to connect to other custom data sources, to using dashboards as code to automate the creation of your dashboards within your organization. So hopefully, whether you're new to SquaredUp Cloud or you already are familiar with it but want to extend your knowledge, there'll be plenty of content later today that you can check out. So in all of this, if you've been wondering how AI could support our operational intelligence goals and make our dashboard smarter, don't worry, we've been thinking the same. Coming in 2026, we are going to be infusing SquaredUp with AI across many different areas of the SquaredUp platform. So it can leverage our integrations, our contextual understanding, and our visualizations to give you smarter dashboards and smarter insights. So we will have AI data exploration, so you can both sort of author your dashboards and explore your data using AI prompts. We will have AI insights, effectively sort of smart AI-enabled monitoring, so you don't have to have just sort of simple threshold-based monitoring, but you can have sort of AI checking your dashboards and telling you if there's anything of interest. And we will have AI answers coming into the place where you want them. So talking again about self-service, you'll find that you won't need to just have to log on to SquaredUp to get some information. You'll be able to pull that information into the places where you work, like Slack or Teams or email. So lots to come in 2026. You'll start to see these features coming out next year. Right now, available today, I'd like to announce the preview availability of the SquaredUp MCP server. So if you're not familiar with MCPs, they enable AI agents to leverage different tools and APIs like SquaredUp. So in the case of SquaredUp, this means that AI agents can connect to SquaredUp and surface the insights and dashboards that are available in SquaredUp, again, as part of their AI answers. So if that's the sort of thing you're playing with, if you're looking at consuming MCP servers and playing around with AI agents, I encourage you to get in touch, drop us a line via support and ask about access to our MCP. We'd love to hear what you're working on. All right, so that leaves just one last announcement, and it isn't about our product or our technology, but it's about who we are as a business. And that is that we have become B Corp certified earlier this year in June. And I'm immensely sort of proud to share that. We've celebrated it internally at our annual event over the summer and using this opportunity just to sort of share this with a broader audience. If you haven't heard of it, B Corp is a global movement that believes that businesses can be used as a force for good. As a rigorous certification process, B Corps meet that very high standards of social and environmental performance, so transparency and legal accountability. Basically, a business that's doing things in the right way and using business as a force for good. You may have seen this logo on the food you buy, maybe the clothes you wear, maybe the coffee you brew at home. It's very sort of popular to be sort of stamped on that merchandise. But we really believe in the principle behind B Corp and why it started as a movement. And we're immensely proud to be one of the small number of B2B tech businesses in the world with B Corp status. And hopefully, and part of saying this now is sort of sharing B Corp and raising awareness of it. Hopefully one day, many more businesses or all businesses in the world will be B Corps. Of course, we do have a B Corp dashboard. We're SquaredUp after all. So in terms of measuring some of our performance against those targets, so things like sort of carbon emissions and internal employee statistics, we built a dashboard. And we've got a session towards the end of the day, session 7 on Sage B there from Tim and Kirsty, COO and finance director here at SquaredUp, and they'll talk through how they've used SquaredUp internally, well outside the realms of typical sort of IT and sort of software dashboards, but for our own B Corp statistics. So if you're interested in both sort of what B Corp is and sort of why SquaredUp went on this journey, but also sort of about how you could include that in dashboards internally within your organization, please do check out that session. All right, well, that is the end of my kickoff. Thanks again for joining us today. The presenters will all be taking live Q&A, so following each talk, they'll stay online to answer any questions you have using the Q&A function just on the side there in the Ring Central events platform. So if you have any questions about any of those sessions that you watch, please do use that Q&A function to chat to the presenters. And we'll all be around generally in the platform on the chat space. So if you've just got any questions about SquaredUp that don't necessarily fit into any one of those sessions, please do just drop us a line via the chat, and we'll all be here throughout the afternoon here in the UK to answer your questions. So thanks for listening and enjoy the show.